Imagine standing at the edge of your greatest breakthrough, only to be met with failure that makes you question everything: your worth, your purpose, your future. But what if I told you that failure is not the end of your story, it's the very foundation of your greatest comeback? That every stumble, every setback is actually a divine setup for something greater. Today, I want to remind you that your resilience is your secret weapon. It's the strength that rises from the ashes of disappointment, propels you past your fears, and pushes you into the fullness of your divine purpose. Because what's waiting for you on the other side of failure is not defeat, but victory. If you're willing to rise, to fight, and to keep moving forward with unwavering faith. Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the very things you're battling today, those moments of pain, disappointment, and uncertainty, are not signs of abandonment, but signs of divine preparation? Stay with me until the end, because I'm about to reveal a truth that could transform your perspective and redefine your future. Sometimes God allows us to be broken, not to destroy us, but to bless us in ways we never imagined. The breakthrough you've been praying for might just be on the other side of that breaking moment. So, why should you listen? Because your breakthrough is closer than you think, and understanding this truth could be the key to unlocking it. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never saw coming. Sometimes it feels like we're caught in a storm with no clear horizon, no clear reason why the skies have turned dark. But what if I told you that every challenge, every moment of pain, every setback is not random? What if it's part of a divine plan to refine you into the person you are meant to become? So that's a perspective many overlook, but it's one that can radically change how you see your struggles. Because the truth is, there's a purpose behind every tear, every disappointment, and every obstacle that seems to stand in your way. God's refining process is not about punishment, it's about preparation. Think about the process of refining gold. When gold is mined from the earth, it's rough, full of impurities, and unworthy of the brilliance it's destined for. To make it pure, it must go through intense heat, heated to such a high temperature that the impurities rise to the surface and can be removed. Only then can the gold shine in its full glory. Now, imagine your life as that gold. The heat, the pressure, the fires you're walking through, they are necessary to burn away the impurities that don't belong, the doubts, the fears, the pride, and the false beliefs that keep you from shining in your full brilliance. Many people want the blessings of life, success, happiness, fulfillment, but they're not willing to go through the refining process. They want the reward without the sacrifice, the breakthrough without the breakdown. But true growth requires a process. It requires that you be molded and shaped, sometimes painfully, so that you can emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The challenge is that it's easy to forget this when you're in the middle of the storm. You look around and wonder, why me? Why am I going through this? But what if your current situation is simply the heat that's necessary to purify you? What if the pain you feel right now is the process of God removing what doesn't belong in your life when life pushes you to your limits? It's often because God is trying to get your attention. He's trying to teach you that there's more in you than you realize, that you are stronger than your circumstances, that the setbacks are only setups for something greater. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity for growth. Every closed door is guiding you toward the door that's meant for you. Sometimes, the very thing that feels like it's breaking you is actually what's breaking you free from what's holding you back. It's a divine act of preparation, designed to make you ready for the blessings that are coming. The process can be uncomfortable. It can feel like you're losing everything, your peace, your stability, your confidence. But remember, God never promises that life will be easy. What He does promise is that He will never leave you or forsake you. He is with you in the fire, in the storm, in the season of waiting. The refining process is not about making you bitter. It's about making you beautiful. It's about transforming your character so that when the blessings come, you are ready to handle them with humility, gratitude, and wisdom. Sometimes we confuse the process with punishment. We see the setbacks and hardships and think God has forgotten me or has angry with me. But that's not the truth. Our Heavenly Father is more interested in our character than our comfort. He knows that if He blesses us prematurely, before we are ready, we might mishandle the blessing, or worse, lose ourselves in the process. So He allows some breaking to happen so that what remains is the authentic, resilient, faithful version of ourselves that can sustain the blessings He has in store. You have to understand that this refining process is not a one-time event. It's ongoing. Life will continue to test you, to shape you, to mold you into the person you're meant to be. Every season of hardship is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to draw closer to God's purpose for your life. The challenge is to see beyond what's happening right now, to see that it's all part of a bigger picture. The picture of a life being transformed, a soul being refined, and a destiny being fulfilled. The key is to keep trusting, even when it's hard to see the end. Trust that the heat is necessary, that the fire is refining you, and that the process is producing something beautiful. You are being prepared for a blessing that's bigger than your current circumstances. This is the divine design, God's way of shaping you into a vessel that can carry the fullness of His blessing. So don't despise the process. Embrace it. Know that you're being made into something extraordinary, something resilient, something radiant. Because the refining is just the beginning of your greatest story yet. Life's challenges are the tools God uses to chisel and shape us into who we are destined to be. Every painful moment, every disappointment is an opportunity for divine transformation. It's not about what you're losing. It's about what you're gaining. Strength, resilience, faith, humility, all of these are born in the fire. And just as gold must be purified to shine, so too must we go through the refining process to fulfill our purpose. Trust that what you're going through now is part of the preparation for what's to come. Because after the refining, after the fire, the beauty that emerges is unmatched. And it's in those moments of pain that your destiny is being shaped into something extraordinary, ready for the blessings God has prepared for you. When life pushes and presses you from every side, it's easy to feel like you're losing your grip, like everything you've worked for is slipping through your fingers. But I want you to understand something vital. Maintaining unwavering faith in the midst of trials is not just a spiritual act. It's a powerful declaration of trust in the divine process. Faith is the anchor that keeps us steady when everything around us is shifting. It's the assurance that even in the chaos, there's a calmness we can cling to. The certainty that God's plan is still unfolding, even when we can't see it. Faith is not just about believing in what's visible, it's about trusting in what's invisible, trusting that behind the scenes, divine orchestration is happening, working things out for your good. Many people give up at the first sign of trouble because they think their faith should shield them from hardship. But faith is not a shield to keep us from pain. It's a power that sustains us through it. It's the conviction that no matter how fierce the storm does not define us. Faith teaches us that our circumstances do not determine our destiny. Instead, our faith in a faithful God who knows the end from the beginning is what sustains us. You have to hold on to that belief even when your eyes see chaos, even when your heart feels overwhelmed. Because faith is the language of hope. It whispers to your soul that better days are ahead, that your current pain is temporary, and that God's goodness will shine through. It's easy to believe when things are going well. It's easy to have faith when your bank account is full, your relationships are thriving, and everything seems to be falling into place. But true faith is tested when the road gets rough, when the winds blow hard, and when the path ahead looks uncertain. That's when your faith becomes your greatest asset. It's the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything around you is shifting. It's the unshakable belief that God's promises are still valid, even when your circumstances suggest otherwise. Faith is a choice, a daily decision to trust in the divine plan, especially when you don't understand it. It's a declaration that you believe that God is working behind the scenes, even in the silence and the darkness. Holding on to faith in those moments of trial is not easy. It requires a conscious effort to shift your perspective from what you see to what you believe. You have to affirm daily that your faith is bigger than your fears, your doubt, and your setbacks. Speak life over your situation. Declare that God is in control, that He's working all things together for your good. Remind yourself that faith is not about having all the answers, but trusting the one who does. It's about leaning into the promise that the Lord is a refuge, a safe place where you can find peace amid chaos. Faith isn't just a feeling. It's a choice to believe in the possibility of a better tomorrow, even when today feels like the toughest day of your life. And sometimes, faith is about choosing hope over despair, even when despair whispers loudly in your ear. Hope is the anchor that keeps you from drifting into hopelessness. Hope reminds you that no matter how dark the night, dawn is coming. Hope whispers that your current season is temporary. and that the God who started a good work in you is faithful to complete it. Hope pushes you to keep going, to keep praying, to keep believing, even when the evidence points to despair. It's the fuel that keeps the fire burning when everything around you seems cold and dark. Faith and hope work hand in hand. They are the spiritual weapons that help you navigate the storms of life. When you hold on to faith, you believe in the unseen. When you embrace hope, you believe in the possible. Together, they form a foundation that no storm can shake. They remind you that you are not alone, that you are divinely protected, and that God's promises are yes and amen. Faith isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about trusting that even in imperfection, God is at work. Hope isn't about ignoring the pain. It's about trusting that pain is temporary and that a brighter day is on the horizon. Faith is also about perseverance. It's about standing firm even when everything within you wants to give up. It's about speaking life over your situation, declaring that this season will pass and that better days are coming. It's about knowing that your perseverance is producing character, endurance, and a deeper trust in the divine. Faith teaches us that the delay isn't denial, it's divine timing. Sometimes what we want immediately isn't what's best for us. And so we trust that God's delays are not denials but divine setups for something greater. When your faith is rooted in God's promises, it becomes unshakable. It becomes a steady force that keeps you standing tall even when the wind blows fiercely. Faith is a mindset, a posture of the heart that says, I believe that this too shall pass. I believe that my God is able. I believe that he who began a good work in me will bring it to completion. Faith doesn't eliminate the pain. It gives you the strength to face it with courage. It says, I may be hurting, but I am not defeated. I may be weary, but I am not broken. Faith reminds us that we serve a God who specializes in turning pain into purpose, loss into gain, and despair into hope. Holding on to faith requires a daily renewal, reminding yourself of God's past faithfulness, trusting in his future promises, and choosing to believe when everything around you screams otherwise. It's a spiritual discipline, a decision to trust beyond what your eyes can see and your heart can feel. It's about speaking life over your situation, declaring that victory is coming and refusing to give up because your faith tells you that something better is on the horizon. Faith isn't just a momentary feeling, it's a lifestyle. It's waking up every day with a renewed belief that God is with you, for you, and working all things out for your good. It's choosing hope and trust over despair and doubt. When you learn to trust in the divine process, you realize that everything you're going through is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. Faith keeps you standing tall. Even when the ground beneath you feels shaky, it reminds you that your setbacks are setups for a comeback. Your disappointments are divine appointments for something greater. Faith fuels your resilience, empowering you to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead looks unclear. Because in every season of trial, there's a divine lesson, a divine purpose, and a divine blessing that's waiting for you on the other side. The journey of faith is a daily choice, a conscious act of trust that says, I believe that God is working in my life, even when I don't see it. It's a declaration that no matter how fierce the storm, your anchor is secure in the Lord. Faith is about leaning into the divine, trusting that he who holds the universe in his hands also holds your life in his hands. It's about standing firm on the promises of God, knowing that his word never returns void. Your faith is your shield. It's your weapon against discouragement and despair. It's what keeps you rooted when everything around you is shaking. And as you continue to build your faith, you'll find that your resilience grows stronger, your hope becomes brighter, and your trust in the divine process becomes unshakable. The truth is, life will test your faith, but it's in those tests that your faith is strengthened. It's in those moments that you discover how resilient your spirit truly is. When you choose to believe even when it's hard, you're giving God permission to move in ways you never thought possible. You're declaring that your trust isn't dependent on circumstances, but rooted in the unwavering goodness of a faithful God. And as your faith deepens, you'll find that your resilience becomes unbreakable, your hope becomes unshakable, and your life begins to reflect the divine strength that sustains you through it all. Building resilience and holding on to faith in the midst of trials is about making a conscious decision every day. It's about choosing hope over despair, trust over doubt, and perseverance over giving up. It's about understanding that your current season is shaping you for a future filled with purpose and promise. Your faith is your anchor, your resilience your shield, and your hope your guiding light. Keep trusting, keep believing, and stay resilient, because God is working all things together for your good, even when you can't see it. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, and your resilience will carry you into that divine promise. There comes a moment in every journey where you realize that your greatest strength is not in avoiding failure, but in how you respond to it. Failure is not the enemy. It is often the most faithful teacher in disguise. It's the unexpected classroom where lessons of resilience, humility, and perseverance are learned. Too many of us have been conditioned to see failure as a sign of defeat, when in truth, it's often a sign that you're pushing past your comfort zone, daring to reach for something greater. Failure is simply a stepping stone, an essential part of the process that shapes your character and prepares you for the victory ahead. You see, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success's journey. Every great story of achievement is marked by setbacks, by moments where things didn't go as planned. Those moments of disappointment are not indicators that you're on the wrong path. They are invitations to grow, to learn, to refine your approach. It's in those moments of failure that your true strength is revealed. Because resilience isn't the absence of failure. It's the ability to get back up after falling. Resilience is what allows you to stand tall when the world tries to knock you down, knowing that every setback is an opportunity to come back stronger. When you fail, don't see it as a failure in the eyes of your divine purpose. See it as a redirection, a divine correction guiding you toward what's meant for you. Sometimes, failure is God's way of protecting you from going down a path that's not aligned with your destiny. It's a form of divine pruning, trimming away what doesn't belong, so that what remains is pure and ready for the next level. Each failure is a lesson in disguise, teaching you what doesn't work, revealing your true priorities, and showing you how to adjust your strategy. It's a process of refining that prepares you to handle the weight of your purpose. You have to understand that failure does not define you unless you allow it to. It's not a reflection of your worth or your potential. It's simply a part of the process, one chapter in the story of your life. The key is to embrace failure as a necessary part of growth. When you fall, don't stay down in shame or disappointment. Instead, use the fall as a springboard to rise higher. Every time you get back up, you strengthen your resolve, build resilience, and deepen your faith that God is working all things together for your good. Failure teaches humility, patience, and perseverance, virtues that are essential for stepping into your God-given destiny. The real victory lies in the comeback. It's not about how many times you fall, but about how many times you rise. Every setback is an opportunity for a comeback. It's a chance to prove to yourself that your spirit is resilient and that your faith is unshakable. You've got to see failure as a part of your divine blueprint, a necessary step to achieving what you're truly capable of, because often the greatest breakthroughs come after the biggest setbacks. Sometimes your most significant growth happens right after your most painful failure. That's when you discover the depth of your resilience, the strength of your faith, and the power of your perseverance. Failure is also a test of your mindset. Do you see it as an ending or as a new beginning? Do you allow failure to define your story? Or do you see it as a setup for a greater comeback? It's all about perspective. When you change the way you see failure, you change the way you respond to it. You realize that setbacks are not signs of inadequacy, but signals that you're stepping into something new. Every failure is a lesson, a teacher, an opportunity to grow and become wiser. You have to hold on to the truth that failure is temporary, but your faith and your resilience are eternal. You must also remember that failure often comes with a heavy dose of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment, fear of what others might think. But true courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to move forward despite it. Courage is stepping out, trying again, and refusing to be paralyzed by the fear of failure. Courage is acknowledging your fears, but choosing to trust in the divine purpose over your fear of falling. Every time you dare to try again, you demonstrate that your faith is stronger than your fears, that your belief in your divine purpose outweighs your doubts. The process of bouncing back from failure requires a mindset of relentless hope and unwavering faith. It's about seeing failure not as the end, but as a beginning, a new chapter, a fresh opportunity. It's about understanding that the only real failure is the failure to try again. Because with each attempt, you get closer to your breakthrough. With each setback, You learn more about who you are and what you're capable of. It's in those moments of resilience, when you refuse to give up, that your true strength shines brightest. Resilience is built through persistence. It's about showing up every day, even when the results aren't visible yet. It's about keeping your eyes on the prize, holding on to hope, and trusting that your efforts are never wasted. Sometimes, the greatest growth happens in the quiet moments when you choose to keep going despite the noise of disappointment. Resilience is the muscle that's developed through repeated effort, through learning from failures, and through the relentless belief that your purpose is worth fighting for. Failure also teaches humility, an essential quality for leadership, for service, and for walking in your divine calling. When you fail, you realize that you're not invincible, and that's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable, to admit your mistakes, and to learn from them. Humility keeps you grounded, keeps you teachable, and opens your heart to divine guidance. It's through humility that you gain wisdom, and wisdom is the key to making better decisions moving forward. Failure humbles us, but it also elevates us because it reminds us that we are always a work in progress, always growing, always becoming. People often fear failure because it exposes their vulnerabilities, but the truth is vulnerability is strength. It's the courage to be honest with yourself and others about where you are in your journey. Vulnerability allows you to embrace your imperfections and see them as opportunities for grace and growth. When you're willing to be vulnerable, you open the door for divine intervention, for support, and for breakthroughs that could never happen if you tried to do everything alone. Failure and vulnerability together create a space where true transformation can take root. The path to success is rarely a straight line. It's a winding road filled with detours, obstacles, and setbacks. But every turn, every obstacle is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become more resilient. You must embrace the journey with an open heart and a resilient spirit. Know that your setbacks are not the end. They are part of a larger divine plan to prepare you for what's next. Your greatest victories often come after your most significant failures, and your resilience is what will carry you through the dark nights into the dawn of your purpose. Now, as you face failures in your own life, remember that you are not alone. You are surrounded by a divine presence that never leaves you, never forsakes you. You are held in the palm of divine hands, and every failure is a part of your divine design. Keep moving forward. Keep trying again. Keep believing that your setbacks are setting you up for a comeback that will surpass anything you could have imagined. Because resilience is not just about bouncing back. It's about bouncing forward into a future filled with hope, purpose, and divine destiny.